Welcome back. In this video we will look at T-Spline modeling, but more importantly, how we can use T-Spline modeling in parametric design. I will scroll down and open Step 7, T-Spline modeling. When your file is open, go ahead and close your data panel, and we can begin. The first thing I will do is right-click, New Component, and rename this component Lampshade. I will also isolate some objects so that it is easier for me to generate my lampshade component. I will unroll my arm assembly and lampshade cap assembly, and holding the Control key on my keyboard, select rubber washer and lampshade arm, and make sure that my lampshade is also selected. I can now right-click, isolate all the way at the bottom of the menu, and it will isolate these three components. I can now only see these components in my model. I can go to the Home view and then hit the bottom corner of my view cube here to rotate to the bottom. Now let's enter our Sculpt workspace. We can do that by hitting this icon, Create Form. You can now see that we're in the Sculpt workspace and we can begin to generate our T-Spline modeling form. I can go Create, Cylinder to begin my lampshade. I will zoom in on my washer and select the bottom face. Now, I'll be able to hover and find the center of my washer, which is a blue circle, click, drag out, and click. I'm not worried about the distances. I'm going to type them into my dialog box. For the diameter, I will say 30. Diameter faces is 8. Height, 150. And height faces is 3. I will also apply a circular symmetry to this T-Spline model. New body is the correct operation, so I can hit OK. I can now use Edit Form to create the distinct shape for my lampshade. I will go up to Modify, Edit Form, and now I can select Points, Edges, or faces, and begin to edit them. I will stick to editing points for this example. I will move this point out 60 millimeters, and if I accidentally hit OK, that's all right. I can just go right back into my edit form. I will go to the front view on my view cube, and I will use the plane slider to get the distinct shape for my lampshade. I'll keep a small space on either side of my lampshade, which we will fill in later. Go ahead and experiment. If your lampshade doesn't look exactly like mine, that's okay. You can use mine in the next step. When you're done editing your lampshade, go ahead and hit OK, and Finish Form. If I unroll my lampshade component, we can see that under Bodies, we've created a surface. This is different than a solid body because it has no thickness. It is infinitely thin. So, let's create a thickness for our lampshade. I will go to Create, Thicken, and this will apply a thickness from a surface. We can select the lampshade body, drag in, and I will go -3 millimeters, and hit Enter. We can see that our surface is now hidden, and our body is now showing. Remember, check the icons to know which is which. We can now see that our body is solid, and that we can begin to edit and add geometry to this body to finish our lampshade. Before we do that, let's talk about the parametric modeling capabilities. Notice that if I select the body, there's no editing because I'm not in the Sculpt workspace. In order to edit this body, we need to edit the original T-Spline model. In my timeline, I can see my Form 1, which is in my lampshade component. By right-clicking, Edit, or double-clicking, I can go back into my Sculpt workspace and edit my original form. Notice that when I select a point and edit form, my body is still shown next to my T-Spline model. If I move this bell way out, just so that we can see it more clearly, and hit enter, and then I will finish my form, and let's see what happens. You will notice a couple of things happen. My surface has automatically updated to reflect that big bell opening at the bottom of my lampshade. And because my thicken has already been in my timeline, the thicken has applied to my new surface. My T-Spline model, Form 1, will update my surface, and then my surface will update my body, all automatically computing in Fusion 360. If I go in to edit my form again, select all of my faces, edit form and move them, and hit finish form, you will see again my surface will update and my thicken will update my body. I can undo those changes, and let's talk about how we undo our changes while we're in the Sculpt workspace. If I go in, you will see that as I edit form and move my points, edges, and faces around, that none of these features are going to be found in the timeline. Anything done in the Sculpt environment will not be saved in the timeline, but they will be saved under Undo. This is because when we are working in the T-Spline environment, many different edit forms will occur, and Fusion doesn't want to clutter the timeline with all of those features. So, when working in edit form, we have to undo and redo, but if you finish form, all of those changes will lose the ability to undo. So, I will go to the home view, and I can see that I have my finished body from my surface, and we know that by double-clicking or editing this form, it will automatically update my surface and my body. In the next video, we will continue to add solid geometry to our lampshade and make it a more complete model. I will see you in the next video.